Growing up in the mountains, life was simple, quiet, and, at times, harsh. Our village, nestled in a valley surrounded by towering peaks, had always been a place where time seemed to stand still. The air was crisp, the skies were clear, and the landscape was breathtaking. But despite the natural beauty, our lives were anything but easy. My family struggled to make ends meet, as did most families in our village. Farming was our main source of income, but the rocky soil and harsh weather conditions made it difficult to grow enough crops to feed ourselves, let alone sell at the market. I remember waking up each morning to the sound of roosters crowing, the sun slowly rising over the mountains, casting a golden hue on the fields. My parents would be up before dawn, tending to the animals and working the land. I'd join them, my hands rough and calloused from years of helping with the daily chores. My younger siblings, though still too small to contribute much, would follow us around, their laughter a welcome break from the back-breaking work. Despite our efforts, there were times when the harvest was poor and we had little to eat. We did our best to stretch what we had, but it was never enough. I could see the worry in my parents' eyes as they tried to figure out how to make ends meet. It pained me to watch them struggle, knowing that there was little I could do to help. One particularly harsh winter, when the crops had failed and our food stores were running low, I began to feel a deep sense of desperation. My family needed more than what the land could provide, and I couldn't bear to watch them suffer any longer. I had always heard stories about the power of the mind, about people who had changed their lives through sheer will and determination. At the time, I didn't fully understand how it worked, but I was willing to try anything. One evening, as the wind howled outside our small, drafty house, I sat by the fire and closed my eyes. I tried to imagine a different life, one where our village was thriving, where tourists from all over the world came to experience the beauty of our mountains. I pictured them walking through the village, buying our goods, staying in our homes, and bringing prosperity to our community. I envisioned my family with enough food to eat, warm clothes to wear, and smiles on their faces. At first, it felt strange, like I was playing a game with myself. But the more I practiced, the more real it began to feel. I started to believe that it was possible that we could bring tourism to our village and improve our lives. I didn't know how it would happen, but I held on to that vision with all my heart. Days turned into weeks, and I continued my practice. I shared my ideas with my parents, who were skeptical at first. Tourists? Here? In our village? My father had asked, shaking his head. Who would want to come all the way out here? But I was persistent. I told them about the power of positive thinking, about how we could change our reality by believing in it. Slowly, they began to warm up to the idea. We started making small changes around the house, fixing things that had been broken for years, cleaning up the yard, and planting flowers to make the place more inviting. I began to take a more active role in the community, talking to our neighbors and sharing my vision with them. Some of the villagers laughed at my ideas, dismissing them as foolish dreams. But a few were intrigued and started to help. We organized meetings, discussed ways to make the village more appealing to visitors, and began working together to improve our little corner of the world. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks and disagreements, but we pressed on, driven by the hope of a better future. One of the first major changes we made was to improve the path leading into the village. It had always been a rough, uneven trail that was difficult to navigate, especially for those unfamiliar with the area. We gathered volunteers and spent weeks clearing the path, laying down stones, and building signs to guide potential visitors. It was hard work, but the sense of community and the shared goal kept us motivated. As the path took shape, we started to see more hikers and travelers passing through. At first, they were few and far between, but it was a start. We welcomed them with open arms, offering them a place to rest, a warm meal, and stories about our village. Some stayed for a night, while others continued on their journey, but each visitor was a small victory for us. Encouraged by this initial success, we decided to create a small market in the village square. We gathered our best produce, handmade crafts, and other goods, setting up stalls and inviting travelers to browse. The market became a focal point for our efforts, a place where we could showcase the best of what our village had to offer. I took it upon myself to learn about marketing and promotion, researching ways to attract more visitors. I reached out to travel bloggers, posted about our village on social media, and even wrote letters to travel agencies, hoping to pique their interest. Slowly but surely, the word began to spread. More tourists started to arrive, drawn by the promise of a peaceful retreat in the mountains. They came to hike, to enjoy the fresh air, and to experience the simple, authentic lifestyle of our village. As more visitors arrived, the market grew, and more villagers got involved, selling their goods and services. Some of our neighbors who had once scoffed at the idea began to see the benefits and joined in the effort. With the influx of tourists, our village began to change. Houses that had once been in disrepair were renovated and turned into ghost houses. The market expanded, offering a wider variety of goods and services. We even built a small cafe where visitors could relax and enjoy a cup of tea while taking in the stunning mountain views. The village was buzzing with new energy, and it was all because we had dared to believe in the possibility of a better future. For my family, the changes were profound. We no longer had to worry about where our next meal would come from. The income from the tourists allowed us to buy the supplies we needed to improve our farm, and we were able to invest in better tools and equipment. My siblings, who had once been destined for a life of hard labor, were able to attend school and dream of careers beyond the village. One day, as I stood in the market, watching the tourists browse through the stalls, I felt a deep sense of pride. We had come so far, and it all started with a simple vision, a belief that we could change our lives. I had seen the power of manifestation firsthand, and I knew that it was only the beginning. As the years went by, our village continued to grow and prosper. We became known as a hidden gem, a must-visit destination for those seeking peace and tranquility in the mountains. The tourism industry we had built from scratch became the lifeblood of our community, providing jobs, income, and a sense of purpose for everyone involved. But for me, the most rewarding part of the journey was seeing the impact it had on my family. My parents, who had once been worn down by years of struggle, were now thriving. They had a newfound sense of pride in their work and in the community we had built together. My siblings, who had once had limited opportunities, were now pursuing their dreams, whether it was continuing their education, starting their own businesses, or exploring the world beyond our village. And as for me, I had found my calling. I realized that I had a talent for bringing people together, for inspiring others to believe in the impossible. I continued to work on new projects, always looking for ways to improve our village and help others achieve their dreams. I became a leader in the community, someone people looked up to and turned to for guidance. Looking back on those early days, when I first started to visualize a different future for my family and my village, I am amazed at how far we have come. What started as a desperate attempt to change our circumstances had blossomed into something much greater, a thriving, vibrant community that was a testament to the power of belief and perseverance. My name is Josephine, and this is my story. A story of hope, determination, and the incredible power of the human spirit. A story that proves that even in the most difficult of circumstances, we have the power to change our lives and create a better future for ourselves and those we love. And as I look out at the mountains that have been my home for so long, I know that the journey is far from over, and that there are still many more dreams to pursue and challenges to overcome.